Hello and welcome back to some Songs of Six on the hardest difficulty. I'm going right back in. And before I even start playing any further, because I'm so proud of myself for coming up with that pun, I have to immediately rename our division. You are no longer called Division 0, you are now our Bug Team 6. Okay, Bug is of course an acronym. Stands for basically undefeatable Garfimi, because they are undefeated as of now. That would probably change in the future. So I have some plans for this episode. I want to show you a little trick that is kind of overpowered, and I wanna then expand a little bit and let our colony grow. We have one big problem: we are still using up way more food than we are producing. So I have to fix that before I go any further and let in any more people. Or bugs, however you want to call them. So we immediately need a new Baltic crawler breeder. Yes, it's more expensive. Now they have something to do. We have 37 odd jobbers. They can do it. And then I will grow my settlement a bit more. And one important thing, I need some feedback from you guys. So I know this playthrough is actually getting some views, which is very surprising to me, because I didn't think that I would be any entertaining. I didn't think that this game would be entertaining enough, but there's a lot of you people who actually enjoy it very much and seem to enjoy the playthrough at least. So around 500 population, so we're 200 away from that, where the whole empire mechanic starts to come into play, and that's the point where the game starts breaking a little bit, because there's a few stuff over there that is really overpowered. So what I'm going to do 1 or 2 days after I release this episode, and some of you watched it, I will post a poll, and I will ask you guys how you want me to continue. If you want me to keep this playthrough going as is, with the current setup, that I slowly expand, so there's gonna be a few more episodes, but more than less over time it will get boring, because I just have to play rather slow or I risk losing. That's one choice, so keep going as is. The other choice will be to stay risky, keep expanding more than I probably should, and run into the risk of losing, which could be fun for you guys. I mean, I chose the hardest difficulty because I thought it would be harder. And the third option will be for me to absolutely break this game every way I can. There's a few rather obvious exploits in the game, and I can show you just in how many ways this game can break. So I could be at like 2000 population right now and keep expanding, and there's nothing that can stop me, because there's a few points in the game where it completely falls apart. Some of them are obvious bugs, and some of them are just oversights, or it's not very balanced right now, because it is, after all, still in early access. I mean, it's the best colony survival / city builder I've ever played in my life. Many of you seem to agree, especially when I look at like Reddit or in the Discord. I see a lot of people giving this game very high praise, and I agree completely. But it is far from finished, and there's a few points where you could just immediately break this game. Just to make one little point, one of the more obvious bugs is that there seems to be an integer overflow. So if you trade with someone and the offer becomes too big, it just overflows and resets to 0. One very obvious exploit is the following: if I demand all his wood, he has 102,000 wood. The first piece of wood costs 40 denarii. Second piece costs 41 denarii. Third piece about the same, but it keeps going up and it gets more expensive. So if I demand like 72,000, he would want 10 million for it. He still has 30,000 left, just about. So if I demand all of it, he says, hey, you can have it for free. Because I can show you, if I go up, 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 it's now at 100 million. Now it's 200 million. Because the wood gets more expensive. And he has 500 wood left. If we want all of it, it becomes just infinitely expensive. So now he wants 1.5 billion, 2 billion, and at 2.14 billion, then it overflows and resets to 0. And we can do that for almost everything. So I could just order all of his fruit for nothing. So those are the obvious ways to break the game. Which I could do, but I don't know if that would, like, please anyone. So for this episode, I'm gonna keep it vanilla. Since now I've been fighting all the raids that came in. I mean, look over here, they're still taking the Garfimi remains of my recruit. And they will bury him. Oh no! Oh, it's our cannibal! I think that's our cannibal. Butchering a corpse, yes! Okay, he's working actually. So we can employ a few more and we get some juicy bug meat. So, yeah, those are going to be enslaved. What I'm going to do, the next raid that comes in, I won't fight directly. I will use another very broken mechanic. I will just employ one group of mercenaries and walk out with the mercenaries and meet the group of rebels before they can siege me. And I will just immediately win, so I don't have to fight every fight in here. I will show you how to do that. For now, I will just keep playing a bit and show you the progress in a bit. Okay, I think it's high noon for some updates. We've just cracked 400 population. I bought some more slaves, human slaves, so we have our laboratory, our first one is almost full now. And we are stacking up on science. A new Baltic crawler breeder is finished and we're producing some more food. I've given my people a place they can swim at, a moat, inside of my little mountain for, so they can go skinny dipping. And what else would you want to do while skinny dipping other than watch some people beat each other to death? So there's a fighting pit right next to it where they can fist fight and kill each other, and afterwards they can wash the blood off in a little moat that gives them some dread. Everything my little bugs are desiring. If you want a tip, you can build a moat or a bathhouse anywhere. You just have to build a little water pump next to it. Doesn't have to be much, you can put like 2 canals in it and have 1 employee. Even though there's hardly any groundwater over here, they still can pressurize a few tiles, and those tiles are spreading sweet water, which we need to fill our moat with. So if I look at the sweet water, you can see this is the area I could now build a moat or a bathhouse. Since we've given our people some more services, they are quite happy now. They are about as happy as they need to be. The fighting pits are doing their job. Everything after will be quite a bit bigger investment. The swimming part is also what they like. So now over here they have 86% fulfillment on swimming. I've tried to build my buildings a bit more on the rounder side. I've most of the time built them square. Forgot that the Garfimi like round buildings, so now I'm switching over to some round buildings. Not enough dread for them to be happy. If we want to pump those numbers up, we have to build some gallows or places of execution. All the things my bugs are desiring. I've also built a fruit orchard over here. The orchards are a bit funny. They take a very long time, 56 days until the trees are grown. But then they produce, I think, almost double or triple the amount of a regular fruit farm. We don't need fruit for our people actually. I'm stocking up on some fruit for the future, because sooner or later we have to produce drinks. And drinks are best produced from fruit. You can also produce them from grain, but fruit is even a bit better. Starting a new Baltic crawler breed over here, because as our population is growing, so is our demand for food. We're currently producing more food than we need. But that won't stay this long. Also given then some houses over here, we're also producing our own pottery right now. Since we produce clay, we can make it into pottery, and I'm stacking up on some pottery. I will need that one later to upgrade a few buildings, especially my warehouses. They need a bit of pottery to be upgraded. I could upgrade this one right now, but the cut stone is quite expensive, so I don't want to do that right now. Other than that, it's looking quite fine. I've also built a bakery. We're not producing any grain other than foraging over here in this little grain field, but we've stocked up on some grain, and so I thought, let's make some bread out of it, why not? Since my Garfimi don't like bread that much, I'm only producing a little bit, that's for our slaves. I think the Garfimi don't even eat bread. Oh, they do. I'm gonna disable that one, so they only eat the food they actually want. The clay pit is also working. I could upgrade it, but I don't think that is worth it, because sooner or later, after we hit 500 population, this game will change drastically. To reach 500 population, we just have to wait a bit. I can show you my population graph. This over here, are all my old Gafimi. They get to around 50 years, so I have one subject who's very old for a little bug boy. The average age is around 12, and this huge chunk over here is my one breeder, who's pumping out babies like there's no tomorrow. You can see after I built the fighting pit and the mode, my fulfillment on the services is going up quite a bit. I've also built a little guard post over here, so they should be going around and arresting people. I will now immediately tell them to enslave everyone. So should they arrest someone, or like stealing a loaf of bread, they get arrested and immediately become slaves. Our little perfect society over here, once again striking true. Other than that, I'm exporting some cloth, I'm exporting livestock. Livestock actually fetches a really good price with 300 per, but it's also slow to produce. I'm also stacking up on some money, I have 150k right now. I will need that later. No raid so far, so that was a very quiet expansion. I will now try to build a bit more into the mountain. We're going to need some more living space, especially over here next to our laboratory. I will try to get a bit more food, so the future is also looking secure. And then my next steps are to produce some paper, because paper is what my administrators will need later on. And it's good to stock up on some paper before you build the administration. What I'm going to need for my paper maker, on the other hand, is iron bars. So I've been buying up some over the time. I think the administration itself will need only paper. Okay, you need paper to build it even. Paper, furniture, which we have a bit of, and cloth, which we have plenty of. Sadly, the best administrators in the game are once again the humans. So I'll be sure to stock up on some humans before I build the administration, which is at 500 population. There should be a slave trader in between. So in our perfect little society over here, where everything is free and everyone gets eaten after they die, we also leave up all of our scientific progress and our empire maintenance and administration up to our slaves. We could talk about how that is probably one of the dumbest ideas ever, but it's a game. Okay, I think that's enough for the first little update, and I'll be sure to check in a bit. Time for another quick update, and I thought it's a perfect moment to show you the justice system in our little perfect bug-style society. So one guy decided to flash someone else his bug pot. He pleads his innocence and wants to go to court. Sadly for him, we don't have any justice system. He was arrested, so now he's being enslaved. And the next opportunity I get, I will sell my little slave over here for some money to buy other slaves. Other than that, we now producing our own paper. So we're refining wood into paper, which we're going to need once we reach 500 population, which is not far. Then we also build some living space over here. We are also producing some cut stone of our own, which was accidentally employing way too many people. Like 10 is way enough. After the one Baltic crawler breeder finished, I started the last time I gave you an update. I immediately put down the next Baltic coral breeder. Simply because our food demands keep growing. At the moment we are again producing more food than we need, but this is where I will put down the administration later. With some living space, living quarters nearby. Down here keeps also expanding, but I think I've reached about the limit here. I will now start upgrading a few services, like our food stall over here and our food stall over here. Those services just mean they get more fulfillment. So now once they visit the food stall and they get the food they want, this service bar over here, which is always around 60% right now, should go up to almost 100%. We can also upgrade our market, which has the same effect. And we can upgrade our stage, which makes our people also a bit more happy, and it looks way cooler. We could also upgrade our toilets, but I'm saving up on some research right now. We're going to need a new laboratory for more scientists. My next priorities are to probably upgrade our laboratories to improved laboratories, and then we will get, once we have 500 Garfimi, we will immediately get 4 levels of Balti Master 2, which will boost our production by another 40%. And then now we can take Posh Relief. 200 knowledge is not too bad. So now they have a fancy shitter. Yes, looking much better now. Sitting on clean stone slate toilet seats. They're unhappy about our crime. But I think they can just deal with it. It's like Mountain Detroit over here. Okay, I think that's it for the second update. I will start going faster again and give you one more update, and then I'll probably end the episode. Okay, we did it. 500 people. New level. New game. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build the most important building in this game. I'll make it nice and round, so my people wanna work there. I'll probably skip forward designing this and then I'll talk you through what this building is doing for us. Okay, I've designed the building. Now we're going to build it. Since I don't want to wait too long, I will demand like 100 furniture from my neighbor. And I'll give him some leather and a few stones. Except now we should get everything we need. I'm going to speed forward. And my people are going to build this beautiful administration building. I'm also giving them some living quarters nearby. So they don't have to walk to work too long. Speeding it up. Building it all, speeding it up even more, and sooner than later this administration is finished and we employ like 30 clerks, and we should immediately tell our human slaves that their priority is now being administrators. What is now happening is that we are getting administration up to a target of 290. Rather slowly, but happening. Okay, they are using 10.35 paper per day and we are producing 12.75. I'm giving them 5 more employees. So we have a nice little buffer for bad times, and my people are building administration up. We have 60 admin now, and administration gives me nothing on this screen, but on the world map I now have 61 administration. And what I can do with administration, if I take over another settlement, which the only way we can go is our immediate neighbor, our only neighbor over here. Sadly, he doesn't want to give us this for free, and he has an army nearby. How we are going to solve this problem, I think, is up for the next episode. Next episode, we're going to expand out into the world, and then I'll post the poll I've talked about, where you can decide if you want me to completely break the game, maybe struggle a bit more than I do now, or just keep going as is. For now, thank you for watching and see you the next time. Goodbye.